All right, guys, today we are on 8.4 day 1, writing numbers in scientific notation and standard form. And today we're going to learn both ways. I can write numbers from scientific notation to decimal form, and also I can write a number in scientific notation from decimal form. So both ways. Okay, so what is scientific notation? It's a way to write numbers that are either really, really big or really, really small. And I'm not talking big like 500, I'm talking about like 5 billion or something, like really, really small or really, really big numbers. So this is called scientific notation. It's when you have a number times 10 to a power. That's scientific notation. And what it means is this is the number that you move the decimal place that many spots. Now, if the exponent, we should write this down here. If the exponent is positive, you move to the right. But if the exponent is negative, you move to the left. Okay, so see how the 5 is positive? It means we're going to take this decimal and move it 5 spots to the right. So 1, 2, 3 would be here, but we need 5. So when you move it an extra spot, you have to put a 0. And then one more time, you put another 0. So if you're not crossing a number, you have to add a 0. So final answer is 3265, and I think we added 2 zeros. And then just put commas, where they should go. So here, 326,500. Now, if your exponent is negative, you're going to move the decimal place to the left. Okay, so if it's -4, you're going to move your decimal place to the left 4 times. Okay, here's the first time. Now the second time there's no number, so we add a 0. The third, we move there's no number, so we add a 0. And the fourth, we add a 0. And then the decimal place goes there. So this one is 0.0003265. Okay, so we would call this a really big number and this a really small number. All right, now I want you guys to practice that. So this is called going from scientific notation to decimal form. If the exponent's positive, you move it to the right. If the exponent's negative, you move it to the left. And then add zeros for any numbers that aren't there. Okay, so 6 spots to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, but then 5 and 6 we have to add zeros. Okay, so now that number is 20075, and we added 2 zeros. And then commas go here and here, so that is the answer to number 1. Okay, now number 2, it's 4 spots to the left. So 1, now this one we have to add a 0. This one we have to add a 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times we have to add a 0. And then the decimal goes there. So this one is 0.0001685. Okay, number 3. This is positive 5, so 5 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, but the 5th spot doesn't have to add a number, so we add a 0. So this is 7, 0, 2, 3, 4, and then we added a 0. And then the comma goes there, and that is our number. Now, secretly, there's a decimal point after these numbers if you move to the right, but you don't have to write it. Okay, now we're going to learn how to go backwards. So now if I give you the decimal form, can you write it in scientific notation? Okay, so here's the trick. first thing you guys have to do is put the decimal point after the first non-zero number. Okay, so if you go from left to right, the first number that's not 0 is going to go right here. Okay, that's the thing. That's what you do first. And then you're gonna write all the numbers but not the zeros. So this will be 4.259. Okay, don't write any zeros. And then you always put times 10 to some power. That's scientific notation. Now, how do you find that power? You count. How do you get from this decimal place to the end of the number? How many spots are you moving? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you put a 7 there and you're done. All right, let's try one more of those. First thing, put the decimal point after the first non-zero number. So it's going to go after the 2. And then write down all the numbers you have, but not all these zeros. So 2.675. And then it's always times 10 to some power. Okay, now how do you find the power? You count. How do you get from this decimal to this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be an 8. All right, let's try a couple more because these are kind of tricky. All right, number 3. Put the decimal after the first non-zero number. The first non-zero number is after the 5. And then you write that number without all the zeros. So that's 5.74. And then it's always times 10 to some power. Now this one's different. This one, you count from this decimal to this decimal. And this one we're going left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if you're going left, it's going to be -5. All right, and then the last one, number 4. Put the decimal after the first non-zero number. That's going to be after the 4. Okay, so if you write that part, it's 4.86 times 10 to some power. Let me move this over. Okay, we always count decimal to decimal. This time we're going left, 1, 2, 3, 4. But since you're going left, it's -4. All right, guys, that's it for Scientific Notation Day 1. Homework is on the next page.